You know, it's one thing to believe the federal government. It's quite another to really believe the federal government. And they've given us some assurances over the next decade. But bear in mind, these are assurances coming from a Congress that right now is dysfunctional. Not much is happening. They can't agree on much of anything. The reality is Mississippi has to have some very firm answers, not suggestions and not recommendations, but firm answers on what the future holds financially and what the federal government is promising. And right now, we're not getting those answers. I know math. I know mathematical certainties. And I know if I extrapolate that over the next 40 years, it's an impossible scenario. I know the state of Mississippi has a corresponding responsibility in regards to that payment. I know we are broke right now, with no end of the recession in sight. Where's that money going to come from? Once we're on the hook here, once we expand, our foot's on the accelerator. And so much so, I'm not so sure we can stop it later in life. Once we're on the hook here, once we expand, our foot's on the accelerator. And so much so, I'm not so sure we can stop it.
From the Washington Times, Club for Growth endorses Senator Thad Cochran's likely GOP primary challenger. Now, let's note that Club for Growth also endorsed Ted Cruz and Rand Paul, and they both got in, and they are both champion Tea Party principles. And quote from the article, Senator Chris McDaniel represents the next generation of conservative leadership that Mississippi Republicans are waiting for, Club for Growth President Tricola said. In the state Senate, Chris McDaniel led Mississippi's fight against Obamacare, opposed harmful tax increases, and stood strong against the big spenders in Jackson. It's no wonder his colleagues named him the leader of the Mississippi conservatives in the Mississippi State Senate, and we have no doubt he'll be a leader in the fight for economic freedom in the United States Senate. So he's looking to replace Thad Cochran in our Senate, which we have not been happy with his voting record. He has been good on the pro-gun stuff, but when you look at his voting record, he voted against the middle-class tax cut. That's not good. The middle class is, makes America. Why do we need more taxes? You're a Republican. You're not supposed to vote against the tax cut for us. He also voted nay on the repeal of the prohibition of biofuel refinery construction. So we need to move more towards alternative fuels, not necessarily ethanol, which is subsidized. So voting nay on that actually is not a good thing. It's closer to fascism than democracy. The Marketplace Fairness Act of 2013, he voted yes on an internet tax. And more than anything, the worst thing that made me the maddest the most is he voted against prohibiting the indefinite detention of citizens and lawful permanent residents, which means basically he voted to get Fourth Amendment. So when you're against the Bill of Rights, we're going to rally against you, and we're going to make fun of you, and we're going to expose you, whether Senator Chris McDaniel gets elected or not. The Senate Conservative Fund, SCF, endorses Chris McDaniel in Mississippi. The Senate Conservative Fund is a grassroots organization that helps elect principled conservative leaders to the United States Senate. Quote, Chris McDaniel is a constitutional conservative who will fight to stop Obamacare, balance the budget, and get America working again. Chris McDaniel is not part of the Washington establishment and has the courage to stand up to the big spenders in both parties. He is a principled leader who will make Mississippians proud. From his official campaign website for Senate, Chris McDaniel believes hope for the future is based on reclaiming the promise of freedom and liberty. He believes that any compromise of our constitutional guaranteed rights is a destruction of the promise of the American dream and the foundations of our country. As a state senator, he has written, sponsored, and co-sponsored numerous pieces of legislation in Mississippi designed to protect individuals from federal overreach into our basic individual rights. His biography is great, and I encourage everyone to go read his biography. I would note he is Mississippi native and he's very Christian. He has led the counsel for Governor Bryant and 10 other private individuals in a lawsuit filed against Barack Obama and the Attorney General Eric Holder, among others, seeking to declare Affordable Care Act unconstitutional. He and his firm donated their time and expenses pro bono for the petitioner's efforts against Obamacare. He's got a pretty good, extensive education. He's got an associate's in arts from Jones Community College. He got a bachelor's degree in science from William Carey University. And he got his Juris Doctors from University of Mississippi, Ole Miss. So he's got a good education as well. He belongs to a lot of groups and has earned way more honors than I could possibly go over. Here are some of the important groups that he belongs to that I would like to mention. He belongs to the NRA, the National Rifle Association, the AFA, the American Family Association, and the Federalist Society. And I like that because I'm a big George Washington fan, and he was a Federalist as well. Along with my research with everyone that I endorse or do not endorse, I always check their voting record. Chris McDaniel has a great voting record. It's not perfect, but I'd like to play devil's advocate here and just give a little bit of the, you probably could have voted the other way on that. He is anti-abortion and pro-charter school, and he's pro-voter ID, so I like those things about him. But he voted to increase the cigarette tax. He voted to increase the hospital tax for Medicaid funding. And yeah, I'm against increasing taxes, especially there, because hospital bills are too high, but at least he didn't go begging to the federal government for it. So I appreciate that. Then he also voted yay on game restrictions. Actually co-sponsored a bill which, in essence, restricts where you can and cannot hunt. Other than that, he has a great voting record. Regardless of your opinion of Chris McDaniel, we know Thad Cochran has spent way too much time in our Senate. He is bought and paid for by the big agricultural companies, and we no longer need that type of representation for our state. We don't need someone who's going to vote with Obama on the issues that Republicans are strongly against. Chris McDaniel offers the cure and the solution for that for Mississippians. Watch out, Roger Wicker. We're coming for you next.